ready?
I'm Dan Olson. I'm from Mansfield, Ontario, Canada, and this is Dart Talk.
It's time for Dart Talk. Brought to you by thedartzone.com. Stay in the zone. Thedartzone.com is an official Cosmo distributor and Windy City Fabricators, America's premier fabricators of orthotics and prosthetics, and Redwood Darts, America's newest tungsten darts. Stand straight and tall and hit them all. Redwood Darts. And now, here are your hosts, Mystery Mark and Steve P.
All right, liking that intro. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Good. Hey, everybody around the world in the chat room and whatnot. Welcome to Dart Talk.
Welcome.
SGP and Mystery Mark's getting over a cold.
A little bit. I'm getting better.
You sound good.
Yeah.
You sound all right.
We'll let the audience decide on that. So
how did you get hoarse? How did this occur?
it's just cold, coughing a cold, and then you start talking and you lose your voice, and there's nothing you can do about it.
No interesting stories about staying out late and going around without a hat in the cold weather or whatever?
Nothing.
No. Nothing. You got nothing.
I got no interesting stories whatsoever.
Oh,
Nothing that anybody wants to hear anyway, for that matter.
Well, that's sort of a buzzkill.
Nothing too exciting. I like the setup we got going here. We're starting to look like a real studio.
We're hands free.
Yeah.
I got these stands at Guitar Center. They're actually for drummers.
Okay.
They got the night, but they've
We're
got
not
like
drummers.
a nice. Well, no, not really. not in the
right.
normal sense. Although if you play Words for Friends, you'll know that a drummer is also a salesman from back in the day.
If I
so
played,
you're actually a
if I
drummer.
played, I would know that. Since I don't play, I do not know that.
Yeah, I would stay away from Words with Friends. It ends up to be a total time suck. I got 15 games going, and I got people complaining that, I want to hear you use that word in a sentence. And I'm like, hey, did you ever play Scrabble? I don't even know how to pronounce XI. I just know it's worth a lot of points.
Right.
So
And that's all that matters.
yeah, I hope we're coming in loud and clear. We had to kind of juggle some stuff around. We got a lot of stuff to get to. So,
First of all, we're brought to you by the Dart Zone.
yes, stay in the zone.
It's an official Cosmo distributor.
Yeah, the dartzone.com. Always supporting the show. We appreciate that. No problem. Also, thanks to Windy City Fabricators and Redwood Darts. Can't wait for my signature darts to come
Well,
out.
you keep saying that every week.
Yeah, well, production delays, slow boat from, wherever they're getting made. I don't know. Oregon.
Awakening isn't a word, by the way. Somebody said.
If they're going to chat about Words with Friends, we're going to have to, ignore them.
Well,
Because
you brought it up.
yeah, I know. That was a big mistake.
Anyway,
because when I get up in the morning, I'll try to play a word or something. But when there's 15 words to play, suddenly it's taking 45 minutes and 2 cups of coffee. I'm like, I don't have time for this. So I'm playing with my mom. I'm playing with my brothers and sisters and everything. So I mean, it's kind of a family thing. So it's cool. Yeah, we got a lot to.
What do we have on the docket today? We got a lot of results, correct?
We do. We have results. We have 2 MLD events. We had a real strong field in Canada and a real strong field somewhere in the Midwest. It said Kentuckiana, which I'm sure doesn't really exist, so it must be some border town where,
I would assume
Mel Gibson and
border
Tina
of
Turner
Kentucky
ran
and
the
Indiana,
tournament. Yeah, one would
think.
It better be. If it's in the Tennessee-Kentucky border, then I don't know. Yeah, we better do the disclaimer now before we say something wrong.
Exactly.
Okay.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on Dart Talk do not necessarily reflect the thoughts or opinions of the hosts, our sponsors, any official Dart sanctioning organization, and post hoc ergo propter hoc, any and all spelunkers, debunkers, raconteurs, roustabouts, technocrats, hepcats, cat ladies, Lady Gaga, the Four Seasons, the Three Stooges, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, hipsters, kibitzers, hellions, the fickle finger of fate, or Tom Waits. Any remarks resembling anyone living or dead is purely coincidental and in no way represent Mother Earth, Father Time, Aunt Marilyn, Uncle Fester, all organized religions, independent contractors, official friends of the show, the North America Professional Dart Alliance, the Undead, the Grateful Dead, or Sharon D. Butler.
Okay.
As always.
I should probably update it. I can't stop laughing when I hear that.
Right.
And if I laugh, I figure it's funny. I mean,
Well, and you have no time.
Jill never agrees
You have
with
no
that.
time to update it. You're too busy playing friends with
No, I was busy because we're doing a new segment on the show, and I posted that we're going to do something new, but I didn't tell anyone what it was. I told you when you came in like 15 minutes
Right.
ago,
I
so
just
nobody
found out-
knows what
I
we're
just
doing.
found out about it.
So we'll get to that. We have results. What else did we promise? Anything? We're gonna have a new league player of the week. I got the one from last week that we didn't get to, so we can definitely do that. Let's start with some results. We'll start with Hong Kong because you don't have that in front of you. I was
Okay.
up. This darts live stuff. It's huge soft tip money. It's huge. I mean, it's like the winner of this one-day tournament. Well, it's a one. You have to do some weird count-up thing to get seeded, and then it's a one-day tournament, and it pays $12,000 American to the winner. That's huge money. $12,000
For
right?
a day.
For a day of soft tip darts, best of 5. 701 501 701 501 choice. So there were some Americans playing. So I was like, well, I'll watch like round of 64. I'm watching Donnie Joe. I believe he's from Houston. He's been around a long time.
Were you watching on the internet?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They have like us. They have like their own Ustream channel and stuff. So, and like I said the other day, I don't really know what a good level of play is for soft tip. I mean,
Right.
so I watched literally for hours, and I saw some good players playing probably what they would consider mediocre darts. I saw some lesser players playing what they probably considered good darts, but I have no way of gauging any of this. But I did watch the Americans, what they showed. Donnie Joe, did he throw a perfect leg of 701? You get like a $500-$600 bonus if you throw a perfect,
Nice.
which is
Each
what,
time,
like 13 bullseyes and a trip 17 or something like that. Because you throw bullseyes from 701, you end up on 101, and you go bull, trip 17.
Right.
Right, so
But aren't the bullseyes worth 50?
yeah. So 101, you throw a bull, leaves 51, but you can triple out. So trip 17,
Right.
it's like a 14 darter or whatever, right? I don't know. They give you extra money for it, so I can't remember if Donnie Joe hit it or I think he did. He threw a perfect game against Paul Lim, won the diddle for the 5th leg. So he's all set to knock him out. He's all set to knock him out. He's on the 20s, and he didn't open up. Usually, you want to open up in soft tip, I believe, with at least a 7, and he didn't do that. And Paul ended up smoking him. And then I don't know what happened to Paul. Because they're showing a match of 2 guys from the Far East, and then another match, 2 guys from the Far East. Next thing I know, it's the semifinals. Chris White's out. I saw him beat somebody. Paul Lim was out. I saw Rick Espinoza play. He didn't get through his match, and I'm trying to think if there were any other Americans there. So it was the first time like that I watched it where an American at least didn't make the Final Four.
Were you watching this live?
Yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
they stream it live, and it's really...
What time is that?
It's like 6 in the morning on a Sunday, 5 in the morning on a Sunday. I mean, what am I doing even up? But, yeah, I figured, take one for the team. You're going to have to watch the next one.
I'm heading to the golf course on a Sunday morning.
We got to get you out to some tournaments.
Yeah.
No, but so it was kind of interesting, and the setup they have, if you haven't seen it, is they have cameras built into the soft tip board. They have another camera kind of off on the side. So what basically happens is it's a kind of a triple split screen. So you could see the player throwing, and then you could see the darts hit the board, and you can see the scoreboard, which will tell you kind of what they hit. And a lot of times, I'm kind of looking at the scoreboard instead of the player. So it's kind of hard to watch, but I find it fascinating that, hey, it's 6 in the morning on a Sunday, and there's Donnie Joe in Hong Kong playing soft tip. I mean, I'm just sitting there like, I got to watch this. It beats a rerun of Law and Order. Which reminds me, I want to get on our audience.
About?
Well, here's the deal. They've been having the darts on NBC Universal.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, not enough people are watching because what's been happening is the hockey games that they show earlier are going long, right? So they're pushing everything back, and these knuckleheads at NBC are showing a whole hour of Poker After Dark, which consists of these guys that aren't really, they say they're playing for money, but I have a feeling, they're just playing with their
TV.
appearance fee money, right? One guy's like pretending to be drunk, and everybody's looking at him like, what a dork, And I'm like, I don't want to watch this. This is like watching paint dry. So they show all the poker, and then if there's like 40 minutes left, they cut the darts, they show you some legs, and then interview the winner when you don't see the final leg. And I'm like, this is a problem. People need to start writing Universal saying, hey, you know what? Nobody wants to see poker anymore. Poker's over. Poker's done. Nobody wants to watch this stuff. They have 10-hour events that they boil down to an hour. You're just sitting there watching chips rattle or listening to chips rattle and watching people fold and steal the antes for I don't know how long till somebody goes all in on like the 2-7 offsuit. I mean, who wants to watch that? It's get me started. But
So,
I mean, people
we
need
need
to
more-
be watching
we
this
need more
stuff.
viewers.
So yeah, I want to see live darts on TV in America. Is that so wrong?
No?
My gosh, let's go, people. Start emailing and telling your friends to DVR this stuff and to watch it, and just leave their TV on when they go to sleep so it shows that people are watching it. Whatever. I'm sure with all these newfangled satellite boxes and cable boxes, they can track what you're watching. They'd be silly not
Maybe.
to.
I have no
right?
idea. Well,
Let's go.
Big Brother's always watching.
Everybody wants to promote darts. Start watching it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Besides, you could learn a lot watching these guys play, and it aggravates me. I try to get Jill to watch these professionals play, and she never watches them. And I'm like, do you have any idea how much you can learn just watching somebody who's good at what they do? And it may be a little bit here, a little bit there. We played last week after the show, right? I'm like, well, here's a pro grip, right? Because you have like kind of a custom. Well, I want
a personal grip.
it's evolved, and you grip it the way you grip it. But I'm like, okay, here's the way a pro grips in, and right away you throw a 1080, right? Which apparently didn't happen a whole lot in your last singles match, but
Not at all.
so I hear.
Yeah. How'd you hear that?
Word gets around. I'm connected. I've got peeps.
Yeah, it completely screwed me up for 4 days later. Thanks a lot.
I told you
Thanks
it
for
would.
that. I knew it would.
You can't
I
be
knew it
messing around with your grip.
I couldn't get back to the old one, so really
Get a grip.
It just screwed me up for everything, but that's all right.
Well, yeah, as far as that goes, I don't know. We should. I don't know if I want to introduce the first segment or not. Did we do any results yet?
Well, you were going to do Hong Kong, and
Well, yeah. Well,
That was
it's
it?
four guys. I don't know.
oh. All right. Well, there you go. Those were your results, though.
Right.
All right.
Well-
So yes, we did some results then.
Okay, so we did some results. What do you want to take a crack at? I'll tell you what. Let's. We have a lot of listeners in Florida, and one of them sent me and actually requested that we announce like a little one-day shoot that they got going. So why don't we get that out of the way,
that
and then we'll do a commercial, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about like the new segment on the show. Let's do that.
The blind draw right here.
Yeah, from Birdman.
Birdman from Florida Darts Association and Brandon Area Dart League announces a Bring Your Own Partner Mixed Triples Tourney Saturday, June 2nd, 2012, 7:30 until 11 p.m. Don't forget your team name. 2 men, 1 female, $30 a team, with the bar adding $15 per team to the pot. $1 mystery out. Super Shoot tickets will be available for purchase also. Super inexpensive beer and drinks. Food available. Smoking venue. 6 dartboards. Formats 501. So Do Cricket. What is that? Diddler's Choice. Loser's bracket equals 1 game of 7-1. So do signups. What does so do mean? Signups start at 7:30. First starts at 8 p.m. Tournament will be run by Jerry Ford. Lenny's 718 West.
I thought
Dr.
Jerry
Martin
Ford
Luther
was
King.
dead.
What's that?
Must be a different Jerry
I
Ford.
would hope so. Either that or he's really good at what he does.
Okay, so Lenny's 718
Lenny's
West.
718 West Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, Seffner, Florida.
Seffner, Florida. Okay, sounds like fun. A smoking venue. Yeah. That's a little far of a drive for us. It looks like a fun draw, though. Seffner, Florida. Right. Okay. Let's. What do you say? Give you a break. We'll run a commercial. And okay, yeah. Let's run a quick commercial. We'll be right back.
Hey, losers, ever drink and drive?
Yeah.
Then you'll love the Mad Dolls. Collect them all. There's Wendy and her innocent family. And check out Stupid Stu. Now any idiot can drink and drive in the safety of their own home. Look at them go. Stay in the road, Stu. Slow down and be careful. Whoa, look out for that family. Whoops. It's game over, Stu.
Drink and drive and you'll be playing dead. Jailbird Joe and bereaved family sold separately.
Right.
All right, we're back. Brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, thanks to Windy City Fabricators and Redwood Darts. So here's the deal.
Let's hear it.
Okay, it's kind of a class project that I want to do. We are going to build the perfect dart player.
Single open, double out. Thank you for that.
What does that even? Single open?
Single
what does that
open
mean?
Means you don't have to double in.
Well, if you don't have double in, of course you don't have to. Well, okay, whatever. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that. However, I want to build the perfect dart player.
Okay.
So, have you ever seen these posters?
I thought you were already built.
Yeah. So here's the deal. It's like you see these posters, like the perfect quarterback has like the head of Peyton Manning,
Okay.
the arm of Jay Cutler, like the feet of Michael Vick, the heart of I don't know, pick one, Tom Brady, or no, the hair of Tom Brady, and like the heart of I don't know,
Like a Matt Hasselbeck.
yeah, yeah,
Somebody
he'd
that's
be
been in
good.
the league for a
Yeah,
long time,
somebody
sure.
real competitive.
Right.
And maybe the touch of Aaron Rodgers, whatever. So you take all these components from different players, and it's like here's the perfect player. So we're going to build the perfect darter. So I gave this some thought. I wrote it down on like a dinner napkin and stuff like that. Some thoughts. See, here's my. Well, it wasn't a dinner napkin, actually. It was like the email thing from Flat Top Grill. So I actually did give it some thought. So we're going to start, and it's going to take a while to do this. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about stance. Okay, now there's some components to the stance that we're going to have to
We have a person that we're using as that would have the perfect stance.
Well, here's what I want to do. We'll talk about stance from a technical instructional standpoint, and then we can talk about what American has the stance that you should most emulate.
Right.
Okay. So I've got some thoughts on this, but I also found some other stuff. So let me play this real quick.
So over the next hour and a half or so, what we're going to do is take a look at some of my ideas, some of my techniques, that when you incorporate them into your game, will take it to a new and higher level.
Which is pretty much the whole deal with this show, right? I mean, this some guy I've never even heard of. I went on YouTube and found some of this stuff. So
put your foot down however you're comfortable. Some people like to use their foot off at an angle like Doug has it. Some point their toes forward directly at the board, and some actually put their foot completely sideways.
Okay, so that's the first thing I want to talk about. And there's a couple of things to stance that really need people. I mean, a lot of people, like if you look at a guy like Darren Young or any of the top players, they've been standing the same way for a long time. But for people that are trying to improve their game, this is something that you can start with, and you can look at your stance and see if there's something in your stance that you can change or tinker with or tweak that will help your overall game, right? That's kind of the idea with the stance. Now, there's a couple of components to the stance that let me play the second clip from these guys because I'm going to rip I'm going to rip these guys. So let me play this part.
Put your foot down however you're comfortable. Some people like to use their foot off at an angle like Doug has it. Some point their toes forward directly at the board, and some actually put their foot completely sideways.
Okay, so here's the deal. I mean, it matters how you stand. It doesn't, if you're comfortable standing with both feet
straight up, on
the
line,
facing the board, you're doomed. You're not going to be able to play that way because the kinesiology of the game and the way your body is structured, it's almost impossible to play that way. So yeah, everything feels comfortable the first time you do it. But that isn't, just because it feels comfortable doesn't mean it's the best way to do it.
It's like a golf grip.
Well, there's a...
You could just grab a club and it feels comfortable, but it's not going to work out.
You see a little kid who's 5 years old going to play baseball for the first time. And what does he do? He puts his hands backwards.
Right.
Well, that feels comfortable. Well, you know what? If you keep playing like that, you're never going to hit anything. So, no, comfort is not like job one. Oh, well, this feels comfortable. This must be the way I do it. You're doomed. So, now, I said something, I got some emails about how I said, there's a lot of these top guys that have flaws in their technique and in their stroke, and everybody has some. But, the idea is you start ironing them out one by one, and eventually you're going to become a much better player. So, I figure let's start from the bottom and work our way up. So we're talking about stance.
What's the difference, though, because you actually stand with your leg completely parallel with the line,
well,
where I don't.
There is... And that is why I found that clip, and I was like, oh, good, I can use this, because this is a perfect example. If you have... What you're talking about here is establishing a baseline. When you have a baseline and you eliminate variables, it's much easier to debug stuff that goes wrong. So when you're talking about a stance, I used to stand with my foot at about a 45-degree angle to the Aki, right? That was comfortable for me. The problem with it, and I found this guy doing it on YouTube, and it was, he's a great player and everything, but it's funny because, his first start he's standing and his foot's exactly at a 45-degree angle. But then the guy's like, well, sometimes, you have to move when you're blocked. So he moves over to the right, and now his foot is totally parallel.
Right.
Right? And I'm like, okay, if your foot is going to be in a different spot every time, how are you going to get consistent? Right? So... and a lot of the top players have their foot at a 45-degree angle. What it does, however, is it aligns your entire body at a 45-degree angle, so you're not facing the board. So unless you're standing over to the right, which is a disadvantage that we'll get to later, you're kind of starting to throw against yourself. So I trash that after I've been playing for about a year. And what I did was I started putting my foot parallel to the line, because that way my foot is always in the same spot no matter what I do. So I like that.
And then, but then you have to contort your body.
Well, and that's the thing, is it's physically harder because you have to turn everything to face the board. And, physically, that's not an easy thing to do. So the reason I did it is because I found that I'm going to let go of the dart 3 inches closer to the board. Okay, that's I think I did the math, but I had a glass of Malbec, so I think I said it was about a 2.5% advantage to I just saw something in the chat. I don't know what that's about, but
welcome Kelly from Philly.
Kelly from Philly used to be in Chicago. Hey, Kel, how you doing? Kelly is like badass word for friends. She knows every single unpronounceable Scrabble word, A-D-Z. Give me a break. Anyway, hi, Kelly. Good to see you. So if you're physically incapable of standing sideways, and this is a consideration where, if you're going to be practicing for hours, you need a stance that you can, actually, physically handle.
Right.
Then the people that have their foot at a 45-degree angle need to figure out some way to make sure their foot's in the same spot all the time.
Right.
I'm not a big fan of pointing your foot straight forward, because the way your body works is it's going to be very hard for you not to lunge forward, because that's the way everything bends. You know what I'm saying? So if your foot is actually, if your toes facing the bullseye, and your momentum is going forward, it's going to be easier for you to kind of lurch forward, and we don't want that. We want stability in your stance.
You think it's easier to rock forward on a straight foot than it is on an angled foot?
You can't rock forward on an angled foot. What you'll do is you'll rock diagonally, which is bad too. that's the one thing that I accidentally found standing parallel to the line is it's really hard to lunge forward because you'll snap your ankle.
Right.
I mean, there's no way to do it. The one thing I found is that if my heels, because in the PDC tournaments you have to wear street shoes, so you always have a heel. If your heel's too high, that will lurch you. I'm standing this way, so it lurches me to the left, right? And that's no good either. So that's another kind of like weird little consideration.
You also need flat shoes, is what you're saying.
But I found this on YouTube from a Canadian player who's a very, very good player, and he's trying to kind of sum up what you want in a stance. And then he did something completely wrong. But the beginning of it is right. So let me play this real quick. Yeah.
What is the proper stance to make a shot?
Proper stance is you want to be really solid on the line. Basically, you want your foot planted. You don't want a lot of movement, and you just want to basically let your arm do all the work. Say you're right-handed, you shoot with your right, you'll plant your right foot there. That never moves. Just use your left leg there to control your balance.
Okay, and that's where he got it wrong, and you can't see it because I recorded this off of an actual video. But what he does is he stands all the way over to the right. And I see like a lot of fantastic players, right-handed players, stand far to the right where their shoulders lined up on the 6-6,
right,
or between the triple and the 6-6, and they're throwing across. I don't think that that's at all a good idea, and I can think of a lot of reasons not to do it. But so many guys do it that I was like, well. Okay, maybe there's something to it. I've seen Peter Evison do it. Peter Manley did it. Raymond van Barneveld stands way over there. And the reason people do it is you're creating an angle that is in theory supposed to increase your margin for error. So what you're trying to do is hit the left corner of the trip 20 and then walk them across, which is fine if you actually have a propensity of missing left and right. You'll hit more trip 20s that way. If your propensity, however, is to miss up and down, it ain't going to do you a bit of good. And you're going to throw a bunch of 555s, and what good is that? So I found this from Bob Anderson, who was a world champion and very well known in England and the States. And this is his take on where to stand.
My best advice for anyone taking up darts as to where to stand on the oche when throwing is, if you're right-handed, I would suggest it's better to stand on the left-hand side of the oche. So if you turn sideways on from that position, you drop your arm and lift it up straight, you're pointed straight at the treble 20. If you took the same stance in the middle of the board, drop your arm, bring it up, you're pointing straight at the double 13. So from this position, if you want to hit a treble 20, which is top center of the board, you're effectively throwing at an angle. If you go to the extreme right, you're throwing at a greater angle and further. Why make it difficult? Take this stance, right-handed, you're throwing in a dead straight line. All you've got to do is straighten your arm and push the dart to the treble 20. Sounds easy, not always.
I will say one thing. I never knew it was called an oche.
O-C-H-E. There's a good word for friend's word. Yeah, it's called an oche. Yeah, I think I had to buy a guy a beer the first 3 months I was playing because I told him basically it's spelled H-O-C-K-E-Y, and what's the matter with you, dude? So, no, it's called an oche, and it's funny, I went up to Bob Anderson the first Vegas Classic I went to where I tried to qualify. And I was using a set of his darts. And I went up to him. I'm like, hey, I don't mean to interrupt you or anything, but, I got a set of your darts. He looked at him and he's like, wow. He's like, those look like they're from, like, the middle 90s. And he's like, make sure you get them to the board. And I'm like, oh, hey, thanks. I got advice from Bob Anderson. I was, like, all excited and stuff. But it was really good advice, And it's very interesting. And I see in the chat room somebody's asking about. I do have. I'll post the video for you if you want, or just put a request on the Facebook on the Dart Talk Facebook page, and I'll post some of the stuff that we're doing there, and The funny thing about him
Aki,
saying,
by the way, is not valid on Words with Friends.
is it
In case you wanted to know.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Somebody-
just
somebody-
wrong.
Kelly
That's
from-
wrong.
Kelly from Philly tried
Yeah,
it
well,
in the
Kelly
chat
would
room.
know.
Yeah.
Kelly would know.
She tried it.
ADZ. Jeez Louise.
So you could get that out of your repertoire right now.
Oh,
But
gosh.
anyway. All right,
That's
continue,
wrong.
Please.
Well, the thing that I found fascinating about Bob Anderson's saying stand on the left was I talked to Roland Scholten 5 years ago, maybe, when last time he was in Chicago, and he was gracious enough to play legs with me until I won one. And he's just kind of like, yeah, whatever, dude. And he'll go like, he was throwing like 41 ton 80, 41 ton 40. He was just goofing around, and eventually I took a leg off him, and I'm like, hey, thanks, gotta go now. But he was pretty cool to do that, and you could learn a lot from a guy like that. He was very gracious, and I basically talked to him about shoes for about 5 minutes, because that was he was talking about how when he plays in Holland he wears loafers, but when he goes to England, because the weather's sometimes colder, that he'll actually wear heavier shoes. And I'm like, really? So I found that interesting. But what he told me, I asked him, where does he stand? He's really tall. He's like 6'5". They call him tripod because he's like kind of thin, so, yeah, whatever. But
I can think of a different reason, but anyway.
Well, yeah. See, you always go there. I need you. I'm getting too serious today. I'll tell you that right now. No, but he said basically what he does is he lines up his shoulder on the bullseye. And if you think about your anatomy and where your shoulder is in relation to your eye, there's like a little bit of an angle everybody has to figure out. And if you stand sideways and turn your head, you can actually look right down the line. So it's much easier.
Right.
I think it's much easier to line it up that way than it was for me when I was standing at a 45 and trying to you basically have to sit down and do geometry and look at the vectors and be okay. Well, because my shoulder is outside my eye and my eye is looking at the target, so there's like these angles that you have to figure out. And obviously, I pay way more attention to this stuff than most people who just pick up a dart and whip it in the trip 20. But we've been getting a lot, and I apologize that I'm behind on answering some of the emails, but we are getting like more and more requests for tips. So I thought this would be a good way to kind of we could go through all the tips, gradually, and eventually we'll build the perfect player.
So have we come up with the start of the perfect player? With
Well,
the stance
we're getting there now. Okay. Now we've talked about stance. So now you tell me, where do you stand?
Well, and I'm basically, I try and do a 45-degree angle, and I try and line up my shoulder with the bullseye.
So you're at a 45-degree angle, but your shoulder's in the middle.
Correct.
Which means
probably
that
is why I stink.
Well, you don't. I know you don't stink. I mean, no. I was going to say that with a setup like that, I would think that most people invariably would be throwing a lot of 555s. Do you find that to be the case?
I don't know if I necessarily in my game. No.
Okay. Well, that's good. And then I've seen you play, and you're pretty stable. The other thing is making sure you have enough weight on your right foot.
Right.
I know.
I think I have a problem
if you're right-handed.
I think I'm more centrally balanced, which causes you to rock, I would think.
Well, yeah, and this is something that I helped Jill with, my girlfriend, because she used to do this lunge, and I'm like, look, you have to put more weight on your, she's right-handed, so it's her right foot.
Right.
The more weight you have on your right foot, the less weight there is to transfer, and it's the transfer of the weight that makes you lunge. So you need, basically, I would say you want like 90%.
Right. So yeah, you want like 10% just to stabilize your body on your back foot, 90%.
Yeah, and even that is sort of like
95 to 5, whatever.
There's a couple of I'm thinking John Part is one guy where his back foot kind of raises up sometimes as a counterweight, because what happens sometimes is like you don't let go of the dart quite the way you want to, and what invariably happens is your back foot will lift up and prevent you from lunging forward. It's a weird kind of a counterweight thing that works if you have enough weight on your front foot. If you have weight on your back foot, all that weight is potentially going to go forward, and then you're messed up. I would not advocate for anyone. I would not say, look, you have to stand parallel.
What about if you're putting that much weight on your front foot? Are you bending your knee?
That's another thing I would say is a totally ridiculous thing to do, because it's the same. It's the baseline concept where, okay, if you're going to bend your knee, you're going to have to bend your knee the exact same angle every time you throw a dart, which I don't think is possible. And then what if you want to practice for 3 hours? You're going to end up with what, like water on the knee, or you're going to have like what your the leg muscles on one leg, or you're going to look like a hopscotch pro or something. Like, you know how the tennis pros have like, a left arm that looks like it's from a different person. Right. I don't think. Not that darters are like, worried about like how they look in swimsuits all the time, but
they should be. They're in the hot tub at the end of tournaments.
Well, if it's working. That's a good point. Let me catch my breath.
Once again, we are brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor.
Very good.
Finally, I'm getting it.
Yeah, let's do some results real quick, and then we'll do a commercial, because we still have a lot more results to get
Michigan State?
You want to do the Michigan State 01? Yeah, let's do that.
All right. The 2012 Michigan State 01 tournament. We got a bunch of them, so this will take a little bit. We got the weakest link.
Hang in there.
Fourth place, Neil Quenin and Nick
Q in the house.
And second place goes to Jamie Bishop, and Frank Detman wins first place of the weakest link. Friday night blind draw, third and fourth place, Lori Raymond, Tim Asher, Mark Citrone, and Matt Ricci. Sorry. Second place, Jamie Bishop, Tanya Asher. First place, Mike Smith and Sean Asher. Then we got men's four-person 701. Third and fourth place, Harold Little, Darrell Little, Gary Clark, Brian Gannon, Keith Schmidt, Todd Wiedner, Doug Green, Brian Massey. Second place goes to the team of Paul Niswander, Corey Nichols, Scott Ziegler, Tim Powell, Jim Powell. Yeah, it's a typo. That one wasn't me. First place goes to you're going to help me with this one, Harry.
No, you're on your own.
Kwiatkowski.
That's good. That sounded good.
Frank Detman, Mark Henry, and Lee Henniger. Women's four-person 701. We got second place, Denise Cade, Joanne Moore, Jody Faber, and Becky Friendly. First place goes to Michelle Nichols, Stacy Clays. Is that possible?
Yeah.
Buffy McGibbon and Tanya Asher.
Buffy's one of my favorites.
All right. Mixed doubles 501. Third and fourth place, Keith Schmidt, Samantha Hammonds, Corey Nichols, and Michelle Nichols get third and fourth. Second place goes to Scott Edwards and Ashley Pankow. First place goes to Colin Beebley and Tanya Asher. I'm saying her name a lot.
Yeah, she had a good weekend.
Men's 501 doubles. Third and fourth place, Harry. I already said it once right now. Kwiatkowski and Mark Henry, Corey Nichols and Scott Ziegler tie for third and fourth. Second place goes to Lee Henniger and Frank Detman. First place goes to Kevin Killian and Ryan Killian. I used to know some Killians way back down, but I don't think it's them. Women's 501 doubles. Third and fourth place goes to Norma Killian and Terry Nagy, along with Trina Powell and Sue. Just a girl named Sue.
That might be Sue Cherry.
Yeah. Apparently it's just a girl named Sue.
Okay.
Second place goes to Nora Killian and Jody Faber. First place goes to Shannon Streeter and Lori Raymond. The Saturday night blind draw. Third and fourth place, Tim Asher, Sean Cook, Rick Johnson, Matt Francis. Second place goes to Patrick Kramer and Mike Smitty Smith. First place goes to Lee Henniger and Fred Brunk.
Okay, mixed trips.
Mixed trips. Third and fourth, Steve Barry, Jessica Bieber, Frank Detman, Jamie Bishop, Nick Kubiks, and Jody Faber. Second place goes to Keith Schmidt, Doug Green, Lori Raymond. And the winner is Brian Massey, Todd Widener, and Shannon Streeter. Men's singles 501. Third and fourth place, Nick Quenin and Frank
Neil.
Detman. Neil
Quenin. Q. My buddy.
Neil Quenin, Frank Detman.
And Frank. Okay, good showing.
Tied for third and fourth. Second place goes to Ryan Killian. And winner of men's singles 501 goes to Rob Mason.
Rob Mason. Okay, I think he's a soft tipper.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, well, good for him.
Yeah.
Women's singles 501. Third and fourth place, tie for Jody Faber and Terry Nagy. And then second place goes to Shannon Streeter, and Lori Raymond takes women's singles 501.
Okay.
And there you have the 2012 Michigan State 01 tournament results.
Sweet. Okay, let's run some commercials real quick.
You know, in that disclaimer, you're going to have to say, I apologize for butchering anybody's
We'll
name.
do it again.
Your local friendly Chevrolet dealer selling.
Why can't guys just ask us out? They have to pretend like it's a coincidence that we both want to see a movie. Or say, let's just go hang out. Of course I'm going to say yes to that. I want to go hang out with a friend. But it gets weird when that friend tries to kiss me. I don't need one more guy in my life trying to have sex with me.
Please. I love it how girls act like they don't know the code. Like they don't know what hang out means. You agree to go to the movies with me. I show up bearing flowers. I pay for the movie. And the second I go in for a kiss, it's all, oh, we're just friends, right? Yeah, I asked you out because I need one more girl in my life who won't have sex with me.
Grow some balls.
Stupid.
When you buy something you don't need just because it's on sale, you're not actually saving money. Think about it.
I tried to tell my ex-wife that for
Yeah,
years.
this one's for Jason Smith.
I want to take a moment to talk about Ed Hardy. So many people hate on his clothes and accessories, calling them gaudy or ridiculous. But I love Ed Hardy, and I think people need to learn to appreciate his tattoo-inspired clothing. I mean, I don't know about you, but I used to have the hardest time telling the difference between the douchebags and the non-douchebags. Sometimes I'd even be on a date before I'd realize, ugh, I'm out with another giant tool bag. But that doesn't happen anymore. Not with Ed Hardy on the scene. Now when a guy approaches me and he's got metallic wings on his shirt or studded hearts and skulls and crossbones, I know to run the other direction as fast as I can. It's like someone's made a uniform for all the ass clowns out there. So thank you, Ed Hardy. I love you.
Okay. That was nice. Where did you find that?
Talk.
All right. And once again, we are brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
DartZone.com, the official Cosmo distributor, Windy City Fabricators, and your darts.
Redwood Darts.
Redwood Darts.
All right. Also, you can follow us on Twitter, at Dart Talk. You can email us, darttalk@gmail.com. You could download the podcast on Stitcher.com, on TuneIn.com, and also on iTunes. They were posting links on Darts Around the World, but I think he stopped. I got to talk to Evan and see what happened with that. Yeah, I don't know what really happened. Yeah. Whatever. But we always post links on the Facebook Dart Talk page too. So go ahead and like us if you haven't liked us already there. And where were we? Let's do more results. There was a soft tip tournament in Vegas. Let's do that one first. There's way too many events and too many people, so we'll read off the winners because
Which one's that? This one?
Yeah, that's that one. The NDA Team Dart 2012, I think. Yeah.
The champions of the NDA Team Dart 2012, Sarah Simons, Weebles, or is there's no S?
There's no S.
Weeble. Ladies Masters 501. Lisa Yee, Ladies Masters Cricket. Randy Van Duerson, Men's Masters 501. Scott Kirchner, men's Masters cricket. Carolyn Nessman, Julie Weger, or is it Weger? Ladies Masters doubles 501.
Say Uyghur on the next one, and you'll get it right at least once.
All right, Carolyn Nessman, Julie Weger, Ladies Masters doubles cricket. Scott Kirchner, Scott Miller, men's Masters doubles 501. Ben Dersch, Randy Van Duerson, men's Masters doubles cricket. Ben Dersch, Scott Miller, Carolyn Nessman, mixed Masters triples combo. For full results, you could go at ndadarts.com.
Yeah, there's no way we had time to read all the results. They've got like handicap divisions and all this stuff. So we just read the winners of the open ones because I figured,
congratulations.
Start somewhere anyway. Right. And then let's do also there were 2 MLD events. There was one in Canada and then one somewhere south of here. So let's do the Canadian one first. They had a really good-looking field in
Aylmer, Ontario.
Aylmer, Ontario, Canada.
Aylmer, Ontario, Canada. All right. So
That's
we
great.
have the.
So top, do top 4. Top
just
4.
The main field.
Yeah, the main field top
Okay.
4 was Jay Barlow and Pete Sawatsky. The runner-up was Bob Seneve. He lost 8-4 in the final to Andre Carmen. So congratulations to Andre Carmen. And the consolation, the winner of the consolation was Thomas Reese beat Trish Gressick 4-3. So wow, all the way down to the very bottom there. Good showing by Trish there. And then also we had the Kentuckiana Classic Open in Sellersburg, Indiana, USA.
Of course.
You want to... I can't read that.
All right. The main field, you have Ben Belts and Ben Minks, and they lost to Larry Butler and Nick Lindberg. Those are top 4. And then Larry Butler wins the finals 8-3 over Nick Lindberg. And then the consolation, which we have somewhere. Bear with me.
Right. The consolation's a shorter... Bob Slade beat John Watkins 3-0.
Right, in the final.
Okay, so then they must be playing best of 5 in the consolation. And then I know I got an email. It's best of 15 in the final. And then I think it's best of 11 before the final. So, yeah, Larry beat Ben Minks in the semi 6-2. Nick Lindberg beat Ben Belt 6-3. And then it was 8-3 for Larry. So congratulations to Larry. And, 3-0, 3-1, 3-1. Yeah, Mason. All right, semifinal. Way to go, official friend of the show. Our first official friend of the show.
All right.
We're going to have to update everybody on how to be a friend of the show when I get the website up and running.
Because we need more friends.
Well, yeah. You always need more friends, but I mean, no. You see, we did it before you got on. To be an official friend of the show, you had to like us on Facebook. You had to like the old station we were on. You had to send an email, and then you had to post on Facebook, I'm an official friend of the show. And Mason Cornelison beat out Jason Smith by a minute. He got his post. He got his post on Facebook first, and then I had to look and see.
Are you an official friend of the show?
No.
Oh, okay. Neither am I.
No, I just work here. Okay, so we got all the results.
Yes.
All that we promised. Okay. Let me read this real quick because. Our League Player of the Week. Dart Talk has initiated a League Player of the Week award. What we'd like are for players to nominate a fellow league darter who's exhibited the most outstanding characteristics we look for in a league player. It could be great play or great sportsmanship, someone who overcomes adversity through illness or misfortune, teaches or mentors new players, anything you feel sets them apart and can serve as an example to other players. Send your nominations with as much detail as you can to darttalk@gmail.com. Please include your name, the nominee's name, and some contact information. So we're always looking now for nominations for League Player of the Week. I got one from Phil Moorhead out in California. I'll send you an email on that, Phil. But I want to nominate Tasso Garbus for this week's League Player of the Week. Go ahead and ask me why Tasso.
Why Tasso?
All right, so here's the deal. You
delved into it a little bit.
Well, yeah, we didn't have time, but basically what happened was we played our team played the city championship finals last Monday, and I did not attend.
Correct.
So, not to butter my own bread, but I think my team was a little shorthanded. And it went all the way down to the and I got grief actually from some of my teammates,
For not showing up.
Yeah, saying that I was being a bad teammate or what have you. But
that's a conversation for a different day.
Yeah, I don't really want to get into that.
Too much involved.
Yeah, it's really. I mean, if we're really short on something to talk about, we can always do that. But we're pretty sure I can go on and on. Anyway, but so it came down to the very, very, very last leg and the very, very, very last set, and Tasso and our team captain Tom Terzic, who is the best dart captain I've ever seen. He really has been fantastic. I've been playing with him now, I don't know, 3 years maybe.
Right.
And he's really selfless. He pays attention, and he does everything right. He's the best captain I've ever seen by far. I used to be the captain of my team, and generally, like, if you're the strongest player on the team, everybody wants you to be captain, and Tom does a really good job, even though he's not the strongest player on the team. So he ended up playing in the very last set with Tasso Garbus, and they're playing Bam Bam and Carlos Perez, who are two, Bam Bam, right?
Yeah.
Two very, very good players, and apparently they missed a double, and Tom had a whack at, I think he had a whack at 36, and he whiffed on it, and then the other team whiffed on their double, and Tasso went up with 4 left and went, like, I don't know, off the board, fat 2, and dead center madhouse double one to win it all. So I'm pretty sure those guys I'm pretty sure that they were celebrating after that.
Oh, sure.
So it was a very dramatic win. And Tasso's one of these guys that I like. He plays a lot. He plays soft tip and steel,
player, right? Yeah.
But I watch him struggle, because he plays in the singles league I play in, and he gets very frustrated if he's off on a night. We talked about how frustrating the singles league can be if you have to play like a long match and you don't have it. It's like, oh my gosh, you went through that apparently.
I felt like quitting the game. I was playing so poorly.
Yeah,
you can't. You try and fix it, but then once you try and fix something, the minute you're in a match, you're basically screwed.
Yeah, it's rough when you're in a long match, and things don't go well at the beginning, and the negative thoughts start popping into your head, like, oh my God, I don't have it, or you start really overthinking things. Well, I should do this and do this and do this and do this, and none of that ever works.
Never.
It never
Not
works.
A chance.
I mean, you need to, when you're playing. You have to have the most simplistic, positive thoughts in your head that you possibly can if you want to succeed. And I think if you ask anybody who's a top-level player, like I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want anybody to think I'm ripping on them. But here, check this out. We're playing in the doubles in a tournament, and we're dead. We are absolutely. We have. We're like. They're sitting on double 4, and we are in the 200s, my teammate and I.
Right.
And the funny thing was, I overheard them strategizing. And I'm like, hey, I think, I'm like, I think we got a chance. So the guy goes up after 45 seconds of discussion and misses the double 4. And I don't remember, either me or my partner went up and got us down, to a finish, not a double, but a finish. They go up and they miss. And then I think we went up and hit it, or, whatever. We ended up winning. But there isn't any strategizing when you're on double 4.
No,
I understand.
Pretty black and white, isn't it?
Well, here's what people do, though. I mean, it's like, the other team's over 200. So, I mean, the game's over. All you got to do is execute and hit a double. But, you start thinking about, well, if you miss, I don't want double 2, or I do want double 2, or I don't want double 1. So if you miss your first 2 darts, then bust it, or something like that. Thoughts like that invariably bite you right where it hurts.
Right.
And there's no reason for it.
If you miss your first 2, make sure you aim high so you don't end up on a 4.
Yeah, that's how you miss. What you should be saying is, ooh, they're on 200. No pressure. Free dart. Bang.
I just got hit a 4.
That's
Double 4.
that's where the positive thinking helps people. It's invariably, if you play a good player, and let's say you're playing cricket, which Steve doesn't like anymore, but let's say you're playing cricket, okay, and your opponent goes up and goes like miss, fat something, so he throws basically a 1 count. Invariably, any good player is going to run to the line as fast as he can with a smile on his face, being like, ooh, I got 3 free darts. This is awesome. I'm going to kill you. And it's like boom, 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 boom. And, when we're talking about the perfect player, at some point we're going to get to attitude. And this is the kind of attitude that makes you a winner, is like all these people that have these flights that say ruthless. Yeah, I don't know if I would use that kind of word, but definitely you're going to get 3 free darts. You take advantage of them. What a lot of recreational players do, and a lot of people that feel like they should win more than they do, fall victim to this kind of thinking, where it's like if their opponent, if they're playing 0-1 and their opponent throws a 41, instead of saying, ooh, I've got 3 free darts, for some reason they end up throwing a 43. And it's like, how are you going to break a guy's throat doing that?
Right.
I mean, this is an opportunity that you want to seize. Carpe diem. Right?
I agree.
Or I don't know what Latin is for seize the board, but carpe boredom. So anyway,
it
that's
also depends on your level of play. Sometimes it's easier said than done.
Well,
you could go up there with the mindset that I've got a chance to just completely take huge advantage of this, and then
that's not even the mindset. The mindset is it's a freebie. It's 3 free darts. For here. I'll spot you 3 darts. Here you go. Take them. Do something with them. Don't throw them on the floor.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's this mentality that you see sometimes, and you're like, what are you thinking? You got this one. And it's really funny. There are people that like, and I've seen it. I'm not picking on anybody in particular, but I've seen this before, where people have huge leads, and they don't know what to do.
Well,
and it's like, finish the leg.
Not only that,
go ahead and win by 200. It's okay.
From the competition that I play, I've noticed a lot that it seems like, they don't take advantage of the 3 free darts, but then all of a sudden, for some reason, the concentration level goes up a notch when they've got 330 points and you're down at 110, and all of a sudden then they hit a ton and then a ton 20 and get back in the game somehow, as long as you miss a double.
Because they don't put any pressure on themselves. Once they're out of it, they're like, oh, well, I'm out of it, and it's target practice, and then invariably stuff goes in, which should tell you something about, the mental state that you should be in to play your best.
Right.
Right. And we'll talk about the mental state. We'll get Dr. D back on here in a couple of weeks. We used to have a psychologist come on the show and talk about the mental part of the game.
What'd you do, break him?
No, she was sick. She got ill and had, stuff going on, and we started moving in a different direction, and then it was just like a timing thing. But we'll get her back on the show. So, where do you stand now? You say you stand dead center with your foot at a 45-degree angle?
Yeah, I try to stand, with my shoulder aimed at the bullseye. Straight up, I look at it all the way straight up from the 3 all the way up to the 20. Through the bullseye.
Okay, the other thing that we didn't get to on stance was posture. And there are advantages and disadvantages to standing straight up or leaning forward. And my attitude is that, and this is where, I need to rip Steve Brown. Okay? Steve Brown stands 3 inches approximately behind the Aki. Now, I guess if you grow up in England back in the day before they standardized the lines, apparently what happened was you'd play in some bar that was really tight and it'd be a 6-foot line. Or you'd play in other bars and it was a 9-foot line. And then the soft tip line, I believe, is 8 feet even. So it may be that Steve grew up playing an 8-foot line.
7, 9 3/4 or something.
It's 7, 9 1/4.
Right.
Is standard now. But you're talking about he's 3 inches behind the line throwing 8 feet steel. So, I mean, it's sort of like, why are you increasing your margin of error 2.5% for no reason at all? I don't get that. Are you that good that,
well, I don't know. Maybe he's tried to move up and then he can't hit anything.
I don't know. I should ask him about it. I need to call him anyway. Maybe I'll ask him. But the point is is that if you lean, you're going to be closer to the board. And if you're closer to the board, you're cutting down, you're increasing your margin for error, right? If your dart is off 1 degree and you're 3 inches away from the line, you're going to miss by a lot. 3 inches closer, you might put it in the corner. See what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
why are you increasing the distance? If anything, you should be decreasing the distance. However, if you lean, that's also harder to do because you have to lean the same way every time. And I look at some of these guys, like I look at Wes Newton. He was a fantastic player. He's ranked 6th in the world. I cringe when I watch him throw. He looks like he's in pain. He looks like he needs to run out to a chiropractor. He's all kind of twisted and sideways and tilting their head and everything. And I'm like, dude,
It's probably comfortable
how did you...
for him, though.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Well, anything's comfortable if you keep doing it.
I've struggled with that too, though. I don't know whether to lean or not lean, and it's like you practice at home, and some days you're leaning, and some days you're not.
Well, and that is something that everybody needs to start paying attention to if they want to improve. Is it's like in order to improve, you need to have a baseline, and your baseline starts with your stance. So you need to stand in the same place every time, and it cracks me up. You know, you go to these the tournaments where they have the medal standards. And I've seen people mark on the standard, you know, where the middle is, because that's, you know, they align their foot. And I'm like, well, okay.
Now, how often do you move on the line?
I try never to move.
Right.
I don't want to move at all. I do this one joke. You want to see it? I'm like, here,
Well,
because
sure.
we've got video. Okay. Want to see the perfect dart stroke?
Sure.
Okay. Say go.
Go.
Want to see it again? Right? All movement is bad. All movement is bad. Movement is what kills darters. And so the more movement you can eliminate, the better. So when it comes to, because I'm centered, everything is equidistant for me. So I don't have to move on a double. But I do see, like the guys who stand on the far right have to move left. And you see them. If you watch the pros on YouTube or you watch like, you know, the stuff that people are kind of bootlegging and everything, what you'll see is the guys who stand on the right have to move to the left, like for a double 32, and then they have to move, you know, and they're moving all the time, and that's another reason I hate cricket, because you have to move in cricket. I mean, sometimes you're forced to throw at something that's blocked. I have literally had to move over to the next board sometimes to hit a double. And it's like, okay, well, whatever. What are you going to do? But I try to avoid it. It's not going to help any.
So when you're at the line and you're all centered through the 20s, through the bullseye.
Wait, say that again?
If you're at the line, right?
Okay.
And basically your body is centered on 20s.
Well, you don't want your sternum centered on the 20.
No, you're like your arm.
Your shoulder.
Right, your shoulder.
Well,
And
because your arm's connected to your shoulder. Right.
You don't move your feet. What do you do to hit a double 16? Do you just turn your hips or do you just turn your shoulder?
What I do is I turn my shoulders.
Turn your shoulders.
Right. Yeah, there's a line from one shoulder to the other, which is supposed to be part of your target line. And we'll talk about alignment, but I just looking in the chat room where Ray is saying he's a dancer, and I find that funny. And that's part of the reason I hate cricket, because what you have to do sometimes is you need triple 19s, and you throw one dead center, and you move over to the right, throw it in the right corner, move over to the left, throw it in the left corner. And if you do it often enough, you don't think about it, and you can hit that stuff. But it's insane.
Right.
I mean, it's insane to be moving laterally, throwing at a moving target. I mean, think about when you're at the arcade at Coney Island. You know how you get the little pop guns, and then you got to shoot the ducks that are moving? It's the ducks that are moving. You stand still. It's not the duck sitting there, and then you're moving around trying to hit it from different spots. I mean, that's exactly what you don't want to do. And then you have to do it sometimes. So it annoys me. And that's one of the brilliant things about Phil Taylor, and this is not really talking about stance, but you look at the way he controls his dart in flight, and it's really a thing of beauty, and it's designed so he doesn't have to move, right? So, I don't know. We could talk about that. We're kind of running over. Is there anything?
bit.
Okay, so the perfect stance
Right.
now.
Because
we're building a perfect player.
Yeah.
There's a couple. Okay, I'll have to go with people that everybody kind of knows, and I will nominate 2 people that I think have, and we'll make a caveat. You can't use Phil Taylor for anything.
Okay.
Okay. So we're not, Phil Taylor aside, like, what is the stance that you most want to emulate? Okay. And then I also have to not count any left-handers because they all look like
Because they're all
they're
backwards.
doing everything wrong, right? No offense there, Ray, but and any good player and any successful player does many, 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 many things well that are worth emulating. But the 2 stances that come to my mind, and I'll mention a left-hander. The 2 stances that come to mind that I think are worthy of emulation are Raymond van Barneveld and Darren Young.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what I really like about Raymond. Raymond leans, but he doesn't lean a lot. And he looks very, very relaxed, and he stands. He leans a little bit, but he strikes me as being very, very upright. And it just looks so graceful and so easy. And, of course, he's world champion and everything. So, I mean, it's not like the guy isn't a fantastic player. But of all, and I went through YouTube and I looked at about 50 guys. And I also looked at all these guys playing soft hip because the Asian players are they all have a lot of style. Too much style for some of them. But because functionality is supposed to rule. And that's kind of what made me start thinking about some of this stuff. And then the one American that I'll mention is Darren. Darren's stance strikes me as being a really good balance between complete and utter stability, but he has a much more of a lean than, say, Raymond van Barneveld does. And I tried to think of somebody who stands really, really straight and tall aside from me, because I'm kind of like getting away from the lean that I used to have, and I couldn't think of anybody. And I'm sure there's somebody out there like Tom Sawyer. Tom Sawyer doesn't really lean much. He stands very straight. He does like a couple of things that I would tell people never ever do that, but he's like extremely successful and a great player. But his posture is probably better than anyone else's, or at least as good as anybody else's I've seen. So let's throw Tom Sawyer in the mix.
All right.
So we got Sawyer, Darren Young, and Raymond van Barneveld. And then the other rule is if we use them for this, we can't use them for anything else.
Okay.
Since we're just going to take one component from everybody.
Right.
So who you want? Who you like?
That's a tough one. Let's see. Now
I'm putting you on the spot because
I'm trying to think which one of these guys we can't use for something else then.
Well, and that's funny because there are certain things. I mean, the list is pretty long. You didn't have time, but see, look, it's a long list. You can't read it. But,
oh, okay. Well, let's go,
there's a lot of components, so we're going to play around with this for a while.
Young.
You want to go with Darren for the
He's been on the
stance?
show and
he has been on the show.
so we'll just take.
Should
him out
we
of the mix right
give
away.
special consideration to people that have been on the show?
No, not really. I don't think so.
Okay. And I should mention a woman. I'm trying to think. I think Marilyn Pop has a pretty upright. She stands pretty straight. She doesn't lean forward. And consequently she looks very elegant. So we'll throw Marilyn Pop in the mix too. But you want to go? You want to go with Darren on the stance?
Darren.
Okay.
And everybody else could vote on it.
Yeah, if you guys have, you guys can post. Post on the Facebook. The Dart Talk Facebook page, or email darttalk@gmail.com if you want to nominate somebody for stance. And then next week we're going to go on to a whole new different component on building a better player. But I'm out. I think I'm out of breath for sure.
Breath.
Are we good?
We're about 12 minutes too long, so I think.
Did we go over?
Oh yeah.
See, this is nice about doing Tuesdays. We don't have to worry about interrupting some other show or anything like that. So this will work out good. Are you good with 7:30? Can we just keep
think so.
We don't have to make it 8 o'clock, do
No.
we? Okay.
No.
Okay, then we will be back. We'll be back next week, next Tuesday at 7:30.
Absolutely.
Is that the plan?
That is the plan.
Awesome. Okay, where's our closing music? Do we have closing music anymore?
I don't know. It's
Oh
not
dear. We lost the closing
It's
music?
not my area of expertise.
Okay, for Mystery Mark, SGP signing off. We will Dart talk to you guys next week. Everybody, safe travels going to White Mountain and everything, wherever else people are going, coming back from Vegas or whatever, and we'll Dart talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening.